I was one of the first he called. I really didn't know what compelled me to follow him, but when he called, I knew what I had to do. People must have thought I was crazy to leave everything, but I knew I needed to go and see what this man was all about.
Things were a lot different then. I was a different person, trapped in the darkness of my own life, but Jesus saved me. He showed me his power and freed me from the darkness that I thought would never escape from. His word was light flooding into my soul, so I decided to follow him. I decided to follow the light.
When Jesus found me, I was doing what I'd always done. I was fishing. I was just going about my business, and Jesus met me where I was at. Before I met him, I had toiled day after day, doing the same things over and over. But I felt like there was something more, that I was meant for something more. I wanted to be great, and I thought maybe following this guy might take me there.
Life with Jesus was quite the adventure. I remember that night in the boat when we left Jesus behind. When we saw him walking on the water towards us, we were terrified. The others thought I was mad to attempt to walk towards him, but I wanted to be like him. It was only when I took my eyes off him, I thought I would drown. He came and he saved me, even in my faithlessness. He was always faithful, always.
There were always things that limited me, but Jesus took those limits off. As a woman, I was used to being treated as though I didn't exist. I was more of an object, really, than a person. But once the other woman and I started following Jesus and his disciples, that all changed. We felt like we could really be a part of something important, something that had previously been closed to us. Though we served Jesus with all our hearts, we didn't feel like servants.
It wasn't until Jesus washed my feet that I realized what it means to be a leader. He had so much power, yet he never subdued nations. He never fought battles. He served. He taught me what humility really was, and I am a better man because of his example.
We continued following, seeing Jesus' miracles, listening to his teachings. And then one day, they took him.
I tried to fight them off. He didn't even put up a fight. He told me to put my sword away, that it would kill me if I didn't. I didn't understand what was about to happen, but I obeyed.
All I could do was watch as they condemned him, finding fault with everything he did, though he was faultless.
The things they did to him were beyond torture. I could barely recognize him.
I still can't believe how I acted, how I denied him. I was afraid.
I couldn't bear to watch, but I couldn't look away. I just stood there and I felt so helpless. I couldn't believe it was happening.
All I could do was weep.
I thought if only I had done something, said something.
When he asked me to take care of his mother, I remember thinking that his time was coming to an end, that this might be the last time I ever see him or hear him speak.
I only saw from a distance, but I could feel the whole earth shake as Jesus gave up his spirit to the Father.
When Jesus died, all I could do was stand there. I couldn't believe he was actually gone. All I could feel was
sorrow,
pain,
emptiness.
Everything was a mess. Our group was fractured, terrified, reeling from the loss.
What would we do now?
The other women and I, we went to the tomb where he was buried after the Sabbath. But when we got there, he was gone. I couldn't stand it. So much had happened and now he was missing. But then, the most incredible thing happened. I looked up through my tears and there was Jesus standing in front of me. He was there, alive, air filling his lungs, blood coursing through his veins. Alive! I'll never forget what he said to me. Do not hold on to me, for I have not yet ascended to the Father. Go instead to my brothers and tell them, I am ascending to my Father and your Father, to my God and your God. I didn't understand at the time, but something had changed.
He called us his brothers.
My Father, your Father? My God, your God? Yes, something had changed.
Something new was here. We didn't fully understand, but the alienation and separation we had felt from God, it wasn't there anymore.
We were now his brothers, his friends. God is now our Father. Everything has changed.
When we decided to follow him, we thought he had come to save us from the Romans. But he came for something so much bigger. He came to give us life, abundant life, eternal life.
He had conquered the final, most formidable enemy of humanity, death itself, and in doing so had created a new humanity, fully alive, fully restored to the family of God.
I was overwhelmed with joy.
Hope.
Life!
Life.
Life.